Walton had through his years in Liberia been noticeably silent in conversation with his friends Harvey Firestone Jr., Edwin Barclay, and William Tubman. That August, Du Bois placed in the Chicago Defender a spirited defense of Walton. Du Bois had only contempt for Firestone, but he believed Walton stood like a rock against race segregation and white rule in Liberia. The old charge of exploitation of the natives by a Liberian elite was a cheap shot, argued Du Bois. Even if true, it would not be 1/10 as bad as the kind of exploitation against natives that is being carried on by whites all over Africa and all over Asia and in much of South America, he reasoned. There is not time for the social reorganization of a country, wrote Du Bois, when it is under fire and pressure by white slave drivers, by which Du Bois meant Firestone and the U.S. Navy. In a world dominated by economic and military imperialism in the service of white supremacy, Du Bois put Liberia's sovereignty as an independent black republic above that of the country's internal class divides that troubled people like Davis. Edward Dudley, Walton's eventual successor, was less sympathetic to Firestone. Appointed as American minister to Liberia by Truman in 1948 and elevated to ambassador in 1949, Dudley had been a New York assistant state attorney general before joining the NAACP's Legal Defense and Education Fund, founded and headed by Thurgood Marshall. As assistant special counsel in the 1940s, Dudley had aided the organization's efforts challenging the exclusion of African Americans from graduate and professional programs and fighting for equal pay for black teachers in Southern public schools. As a diplomat, Dudley initially restrained himself from criticizing Firestone in the press, but after 3 years in Liberia, he confronted the company's racist policies. When white staff at the U.S. Trading Company, a Firestone-owned store, refused to wait on Mrs. Dudley while extending other discourtesies, Dudley summoned to the American legation in Monrovia a Mr. Vipond, acting manager of the Firestone Plantations Company. After the ambassador allegedly dressed down Vipond, a phone call went from Akron to the State Department. Dudley, in speaking with Vipond, supposedly accused Firestone of transferring U.S. Jim Crow policies to Liberia and denounced its segregationist policy of excluding Negroes from the employee club. Firestone's executive